So, remember when Roger Goodell said that the refs have never been better than ever? We have the best refs possible, and we're just absolutely doing great in the referee industry. Well, here we go. According to Warren Sharp here, we are seeing a max exodus of NFL refs and officials. We have seen 12 leave this season, most since 2013. It's just the second time in NFL history double-digit refs/officials left in the NFL in consecutive years. Surely beautiful refereeing to following next season. And what does this mean? This means the refs, you know, the refs that called the Bengals-Chiefs game, you know, the refs that called the Super Bowl, the referee crew that was considered the most penalized, the one referee crew that threw the most penalties of any referee crew out of any of them. This means they're going to be reffing more games. This means all the, well, only 100,000 missed calls that, you know, to Roger Goodell, he said, well, there's 1 million calls every year. If 10% of them are, you know, I don't know, missed, and they cost a game or two, well, you know what? It's okay, because only 100,000 out of 1 million. This goes to more and more of that referees need to be full-time. And I didn't realize this till recently. Referees actually make, like, I think $200,000 a year. I thought they made nothing. I really thought they made nothing, and I was like, okay, well, if they make nothing, then, you know, this makes sense why they have a second and a third job, because some refs do. Some refs they ref the NFL, and they also ref other things, or they do other things. But no, they actually make a good amount of money. The NFL just does not want to make them full-time. For whatever reason, with the billions upon billions of dollars the NFL has, they do not want to get referees full-time. And I know countless people have talked about this, myself included, how if they made full-time referees, they could actually keep them accountable for times that they mess up. Hey, you're a ref and you blow a call that loses a team a game, and you look back and now you're looking, and once they go through analysis, you missed that call, you blew a call that should not have been blown. Well, you're canned. Done. They could have training camp throughout the summers for these referees to kind of get all together. Maybe some of the referees, in order to become referees, you have to get referees in XFL, and then you go to the NFL. Or maybe during the summer, that could be your thing. We take NFL refs during the summer, and we put them in the XFL. Just to get them better, get them, you know, calling the correct calls, not making mistakes, because the only way you're going to stop mistakes from happening is by simply, you guessed it, more experienced. More calls, more experience, less chances of messing up. Now, based on what I understand, 12 of these that referees that left, only like 2 or 3 of them were actually like fired. Based on what I understand, it wasn't like they were all fired. Like 2 or 3 were fired. A couple of them, I think they left because of retirement. And then a couple of them are going to TV. And this is another problem that we're kind of having, right? Is that these TV networks are trying to hire everyone. I mean, you have Tom Brady, who was supposed to go to Fox actually 2 years ago, but got this $375 million, you know, contract with Fox. You have old referees who left and gone to Fox, gone to CBS, gone to different news stations. And it's just to a point now where it's not really worth it to be a ref in the NFL, because you can go get big money somewhere else. But what ends up happening is the only people who then are refs in the NFL are the bad ones, are the ones that are trash, and they don't leave because of the fact that they're not going to get a TV deal, right? They're not going to get a TV deal. They're not going to get a huge contract because they're not good. So the NFL says, well, okay, guess we'll keep you then, because, you know, why not? We'll just keep you. The problem we have here, right, is Roger Goodell is obviously the top dog, right? the NFL does not see a problem with referees. And as fans, it really is becoming more and more apparent, no matter what team you root for, right? You root for the Bengals, you root for the Ravens, you root for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I guarantee you, Chiefs fans, you cannot tell me that last year there wasn't a couple games that was bullcrap against you. Go back to that Raiders game, back when you guys had Alex Smith, the Raiders game when Amari Cooper was still with the Raiders. Tell me that was not bullcrap, that fourth quarter, how the refs gave the Raiders 17 chances to score a touchdown. Like, this is a long time thing. And for the most part, as fans, we just put up with it, right? We're like, okay, you know, it is what it is. We're kind of just get along, whatever. But now that they're forcing betting down everyone's throat, you can't watch a football game without seeing DraftKings or some kind of betting website. And by the way, just a side note here, I have been offered thousands of times to sponsor betting websites on this channel, and I have turned every single one of them down. I don't like the idea of forcing someone to bet, promoting betting, because that can ruin someone's life. I don't like it. I think it's, honestly, I do respect everyone who does support. Like, if you're a YouTuber and you support it, go get your bread, my guy, okay? Go get your money. It's just not for me. You know, I not a guilty conscience. I don't want to promote something that could ruin someone's life, right? So at the end of the day, it's just, you're going to force betting down our throats, and then you come back and say, well, the refs miss 100,000 calls. 100,000 calls. Cost 7, 8, 9, 10 games. I know you might not agree with Joey Bosa last year in the when he went off in the playoff game, where, you know, they called him on unnecessary roughness, which, to be honest, was kind of, you know, warranted. He slammed his helmet, but it was because the guy jumped off sides. They didn't call it. Go back to that playoff game, Chargers-Jags. The very end of the game, right, when it's still, at this time, a 4-point game, they're at to kick an extra point, right? The play before that, the play they scored a touchdown on, that play, the guy false started. The right tackle jumped early. The refs did not call it at all. It was a blatant false start. Joey Bosa they score a touchdown. He gets ticked off. He slams his helmet. He goes off about the refs in the locker room. I think he got fined for that too. Where he was like, listen, this is bullcrap, that they can just cost us games. They can cost teams NFL games. And there's no, you know, okay, I said this word correctly. There's no, like, they don't get in trouble for it, right? There's no, can't think of the word for some reason. We get in trouble and, like, there's nothing done to them, right? There's nothing done to them for messing up a call that cost a game. I mean, and it seemed like every year in the NFL, I mean, we had the Saints versus Rams game where that PI call sent the Rams to the Super Bowl. Saints should have been in the Super Bowl, but the Rams got there because of that. This has been a long time issue. And in my opinion, that AFC championship game between the Bengals and the Chiefs, you could call out a couple things that changed the game. Number one, the the intentional grounding on Joe Burrow when there was a running back in the area. That was called questionable. Okay. Giving the Chiefs 2 extra downs. Questionable. Okay. Punt return, where there was a hold and a block in the back. Not called. Put the Chiefs into field goal range. Not called. The play that, you know, obviously the Joseph Asai, when he hit him, the roughing the pass on that, unnecessary roughness, when he hit him when he was out of bounds, that's a good call. That was a blatantly good call. Here's the problem, and this is kind of what Tony Romo even admitted to, and trust me, if Tony Romo is admitting to this when it's, well, Chris Collinsworth is more the guy who loves Patrick Mahomes, but I think Tony Romo also loves Patrick Mahomes. But if he's admitting to this, there's a problem. And even the head of refs, the top ref, right? The ref who is now getting that $1 million paycheck, right? He admitted that on that final play where Joseph Asai hit him, there was 2 missed holding calls on that play. And if you're like, oh, come on, man, that's 2 missed holding. You call holding on that play, you go to overtime, the game's completely different. That was right there on that drive, the punt return and the drive, 4 missed calls. There was 1 missed call, well, 1, I think, incorrect call with intentional grounding early in that game. There was 2 mess-ups where they gave the Chiefs an extra 4th down twice. Well, they gave it a Chiefs 4th down 1 time, but then they also called a holding call after that. That is 2. What is that? 2 plus 4. That's 6. 7. 7 incorrect calls, and that cost the game. You gotta do something about it. And the problem is, Roger Goodell has already went on a soapbox and said, listen, there's no problems. Everything's good. We're looking great. We're feeling great. Because it doesn't affect him. That's the problem. When the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, he hugged Chris Jones and said, we did it. Roger Goodell grew up a Chiefs fan. He's a Chiefs fan. Respect whatever. That's your team. Don't say you don't have a problem if your team wins. Because there's still problems. But it is what it is. Guys, let me know your thoughts, opinions. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.